If you're interested in back-end development, we've put together some tracks for you that will cover your interest Monday through to Wednesday at the conference. If we look at the first track called .NET for Experts, Mario Sputza and Beat Swigler has put together a nice track for us about .NET technologies. In this track we'll find Jimmy Nielsen. Jimmy Nielsen is the author of 2 books, Applying Domain-Driven Design and Patterns and .NET Enterprise Design. In his presentation he has collected a couple of his favorite concepts for alt.NET that aren't too mainstream, but that he finds very valuable in many situations. You will be exhausted just from reading the abstract, but this is nothing against what you'll be at the actual presentation. In this track you'll also meet Hadi Hariri, who says that if you're a fan of static type languages, and if you're a disbeliever of dynamic languages, you should come to this session and learn how to love the new dynamic keyword that C# 4.0 has introduced. But we have more for you in backend development. We have a track called Designing for Cloud. When we had our big brainstorm to define the subjects that should be presented at this conference, we had 5 tracks worth of proposals for cloud technologies, experiences and challenges. We ended up with just 1 track, because we soon discovered that cloud development has become so pervasive that it enters almost all other tracks this year. In this track we found some speakers who will show you how to use the technologies in the market to build your own cloud applications. The security track is an interesting track, because it deals with something that involves all of us but on many different levels. You'll always get a discussion when designing a system on what security level it should be. It is costly to create a secure system, and it might not be that relevant for your domain. One of the speakers in this track is Bruce Dang, who will tell us about security at Microsoft. You'll hear behind-the-scenes stories involving some of the more well-known incidents in the last few years, and there'll be many engineering stories. This should prove interesting. A track called Web as a Platform. We find Ian Robinson, one of the world's foremost experts on designing RESTful APIs. Brian Sledden would also talk about REST in his behavior-driven design talk, which is about tools like Cucumber that drive development forward using behavior-based conformance tests. Matthew Wall's talk looks like API-driven design. Based on his experiences from the Guardian website, he'll be telling us how the vision of the services they wanted to support drove their architecture. Finally, Paul Downey's talk is all about identity. This is something all non-trivial websites needs to consider, and whether you use one of the big social sites or roll your own login system, there are big consequences for you and your users. Think convenience, security, and privacy. And of course, we still need a Java track at the GOTO conference, which was formerly known as JAU, the Java and OO conference. Among them presentations on concurrency in Java, testing in Java and Java in the cloud, we find this weird presentation on how to move from Java to Scala. This would never have happened in the good old days at JAU. The last track I want to talk about is modern databases. While we get more data, the data moves around more and the development models have changed. Relational databases is no longer the only solution. One of the talks is by the CTO of Trifork, Christian Krab-Torup, who's evaluating RIAC as a foundation for providing both high availability, scalability and the ability to run off multiple data centers in a national Danish healthcare service called the Shared Medicine Card. He will share their experiences, explain their approach, the pitfalls that they fell into on the way, and how to avoid them. In this track we also find Bill Marsack, who will present Bloom, an internal Ruby domain-specific language for writing distributed systems. Bloom is designed for concurrency as default, where programmers explicitly introduce sequentiality where required. This bends my brain, and I'm glad that this is the last presentation I'll be presenting in this video. What's left to say now is that it should be obvious to you that you should go to the registration page and register for this year's GOTO conference in Aarhus. See you there.